Good evening. This is the Newbury Zoning Board meeting tonight, Thursday, July 16, 2026, at Town Hall. My name is Mario Carnevale. I'm going to be the acting chairman today. Eric Spahn had an appointment that he couldn't make tonight. So we have tonight Chrissy Bouppay, ZBA Administrator, Michelle Wilder, Associate Member, Josh Walker, Associate Member, and Jack Kelly, Member. So Michelle's going to read the agenda.
Yeah, I think we're just going to start with the second item first, just to wrap that up. Gerald Vendetti, 15 Sunset Drive. The applicant is requesting special permit finding for relief from sections 97-4D 5C01, increase in footprint, and 02, increase in height of the Newbury zoning bylaws, and any other permit relief as may be required under the town of Newbury's zoning bylaws to allow the proposed use project for the raising of the existing single-family dwelling on the property and the construction of a new single-family dwelling on pilings with a garage on the property located at 15 Sunset Drive, Plum Island, Newbury, Mass. 1951. And we approved a decision to be drafted last month, so we'll review that today.
Okay.
I incorporated Eric's suggested edits, and on the copy you'll notice that they're highlighted in yellow where I made changes. And on the top of the decision is a summary of all his suggested edits. I didn't know if the rest of you had any more
On the top,
comments. On the top of the decision, it's highlighted 15 Sunset Drive.
Okay. Okay. Top decisions.
I'm not sure I had that procedure.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
I saw it online.
I have it here, right? This is it.
That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think you guys don't have it.
I think the top of it is highlighted 15 Sunset.
This one? This is the garage for the next one.
I apologize. Here's an extra copy, and I'll go get it.
Yeah, I'll give this to Jack because he's the one who will remember on Jack.
Yeah.
I'll go remember for that one.
Thank you.
Here, actually, I wrote it, so
Oh, okay.
go ahead. We're going to take a couple minutes just to read this draft of a decision from last month.
This is the same as what was emailed, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't have comments from the email.
Oh, okay, you did.
Yeah,
Okay.
I reviewed it, I went, oh, that's what I did.
So what was included, what zones V, E, and zone X was included, J's letter was submitted, that was included.
Part of it.
Yeah. We conducted a site on May 12th. And then under the decision, existing one-bedroom dwelling allows the property to have. Excuse me?
We went outside, we were supposed to be outside.
Can we take it to a whisper, please? Can we take it to a whisper, thanks? We're just talking here. Thanks. And then under conditions to additional bedrooms, no request can be submitted for approved for an accessory unit within the dwelling because of the septic
Yep.
system.
State
I saw
law.
that near the end of the decision too, that was included.
And Mario, wasn't there something about numbering of the drawings?
Yes. Was that done, Chrissy, the additional dates for the drawings, the new ones that were presented?
Those are the ones from June 11th date that
Okay.
was submitted.
Because I got this from Eric, the building shifted and revisions were made.
That was the latest submittal.
Okay.
Yeah, for the drawings, and that's included in the attachments.
Okay.
And that was shifted based on Comcom's
Recommendation.
recommendation.
So just to be clear, the date on that is
Thought it was June 11th.
June 11th?
Yes.
So June 11th is the one and Comcom's approved, and that's the one we're.
It's not approved.
It's not
They-
approved.
It was a recommendation from Comcom. He still
He
has to
still
go
has to.
to
Okay.
Comcom
All right.
after we approve the draft.
Thank you.
Just a
It's a
lot.
lot.
It was a big.
Yeah.
It was 4 meetings.
So I just needed the date of the site walk, which you gave me, so I
May 12th.
incorporated that in the original.
Okay.
And then, yeah, I did note about, ADU.
Yep,
Which
yep.
is important.
The only comment I have, and I think we beat this into the ground, but it just doesn't seem right. We cite the Newbury zoning bylaws, 97-4D, as a justification for no additional ADU bedrooms. Or we're not addressing maybe I misunderstood it, we're not addressing the ADU
We did in the
issue at
special
all.
conditions on the second to last page.
Okay.
So we added that specific bylaw, which is 97-4D-5B.
Yeah.
And wrote additional bedrooms, no request can be submitted or approved for an accessory unit within the dwelling for a third bedroom.
Okay.
Because you, Michelle and Mario did the site walk and proved that existing was one bedroom.
Okay, so we don't even need to address the whole state thing at
And
all?
within
Okay,
the
perfect.
RPOD supersedes
Okay.
the state. So
Perfect.
Plum
Okay.
Island's kind of moot point right now.
In that case, I'm ready for a motion. If
All
anyone
right.
else is.
Anybody want to give a motion or?
I make a motion that we accept the special condition permit application as drawn up and modified by Christie today.
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Pass around the form,
Yes,
please.
can you just sign in here?
Well,
Give it
yeah,
to Jack.
just
Yeah,
Jack.
just Jack.
Because you need Eric's also. Ready for the next one?
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Technically,
Oh, don't worry about that, that's for you, for another time.
That was. Okay, let's see. So this is old business or new? Oh, you
New
can just
business.
continue.
Yeah. It was continued.
Yeah, it was continued.
Was new, but changed, so then it became new again last month.
Continued.
So new, technically new this month, but continued.
Okay, sorry, I'm gonna butcher your last name. Peter Nicolopoulos, 129 Northern Boulevard. The applicant is requesting a special permit finding for relief from section 97-4D 5C02, increase in height, and 97-4D 2B03, increase in allowable FAR of the Newbury zoning bylaws and any other permit relief as may be required under the town of Newbury zoning bylaws, to allow the proposed use project for renovations to the existing single-family dwelling, including the addition of a second story and roof deck on the property located at 129 Northern Boulevard, Plum Island, Mass. 01951, Assessor's Map U04, Lot 28. And this was continued from last month's meeting on June 18th.
Hi, good evening. My name is Bill Nolan from Savoy Nolan Architects, here representing Peter and his wife Angela. For the record, you did a lot better than I did the first time I tried that name. I do have some graphics that I wanted to show. Am I able to put them on the computer? Or-
Yeah, Christie? Yeah.
Yeah.
I did bring my own computer.
I think we could do this. I remember my old days of
Those are open.
computers.
Here's good at this.
Yeah. This is time to shine.
Yeah,
Everybody's watching.
I don't have a password. That's a problem. Chrissy, can we get into the computer so he can put a stick in?
Yes.
Thank you. Just looking for, just the charger?
It goes down.
Okay, I'll just use this space for it. Space for it.
Yeah. We had it right here.
Oh, you got a stick? Cool. All right. No,
Am I okay to present here?
Yes.
So while we're getting set up here, I can start, so keep you guys here later if need be. Again, for the record, my name's Bill Nolan from Savoy Nolan Architects. Before we begin, I'd like to apologize for the continuance at the last meeting. The owners came up with some revisions that they wanted to consider, so rather than present to you and then come back for a minor modification, we figured we'd just put the proposal together that we really want and present it to you. But we appreciate your willingness to continue the case until this meeting, so thank you very much. So the property is, are you going to drive
I
or?
don't know how to do a slideshow
Oh.
on this thing, I'm sorry.
Can you pull up?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Is it a PDF?
Yeah.
That's probably as big as
There we go, sorry. Yep.
Zoom in maybe, or just scroll.
We are getting a new system.
Let me try this one.
I think it went in. Try zooming in at the top middle, the little plus. And then just scroll over to it maybe.
I can work with that.
You work with this?
Uh,
Oh, here,
there you
yeah.
The Zoom.
The problem is it's a PDF and you
They're all
can't do
different
anything with it.
sizes.
Yeah,
Like another
yeah, you
PowerPoint?
can't change it.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it's a PowerPoint, yeah.
So next time I come before you guys put it on it. Okay, good to know. I can just use the
Oh.
Zoom feature.
Switch one.
No, fine.
This is the official one I have.
Still beats the old days.
Yeah, there you go, that's perfect.
That's it.
Easel.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep, okay, so this is the property that we're talking about right here, 129 Northern Boulevard, and you can see that it fronts on two streets, Northern Boulevard and 48th Street. Property is 5,600 square feet. The existing site is here. And I have a cleaner site with setbacks and all that, but you'll notice that the existing building is conforming with regards to all the setbacks. So you have a driveway here. There is a second driveway off of North 46th Street, sorry, 46th and 40th. This is the existing dwelling here, walkway.
Is there one setback that's not non-conforming? Right now, the 9,
We believe that we're all, we're conforming.
I thought there was somewhere had a 9.25 feet.
This is 9.5, this is actually being removed though, so I'll get it into
Oh, okay,
the proposal.
okay.
So these are just some images of the street, Google Maps. This is our property here. And as you can see, we're proposing a second story. It's consistent with the houses that are around the neighborhood as well. Our property here and some neighboring properties. This is the house directly across the street, which is actually pretty similar to what we're looking to do. Okay, I gotta get my Zoom oriented. Okay. So this is the existing floor plans. We did a full measure up of the existing house. This is the existing basement. You'll notice that there's a full kitchen down there. It's really set up like a secondary apartment. There's a bulkhead, and this is the only access into the basement. You'll see that there's no stairs going up to the existing house. Bathroom, bedroom, kind of an open concept living room and an entry. So it's completely divorced from the house above it. It also doesn't meet the building code with regards to the ceiling height. You got about 6'8" ceiling height in the main ceiling, and then when you have dropped headers and beams, they're actually below.
How much
So-
of the floor path is above grade plane? Is there a percentage, or is it just because I know those old spots when you walk around there, it's just curious.
Yeah, actually, so if you give me 1 second, I can give you that answer.
Sorry.
No,
That's
that's a good question.
So you-
I believe it's, so it's 7/8 minus 2/8, so about 4 feet, 5, yeah, about 5 feet. You know, it's real rough measurement, I'm going from floor area, but I'm just going from the basement floor to the top. I think it's a little under 5 feet for the basement area. And then there's a screened-in porch that, on sonotube foundations. This is the existing first floor. So you can see you get 2 entrances, kitchen, dining. You know, it's really small. It's hard to get a dining table in there. 1 bathroom, and it's got the shower kind of in a weird scenario where this is actually cantilever now. So the shower's over the in this cantilevered section here, which we're proposing to remove as well. Bedroom, screened-in porch, entry. So this is kind of where we're heading to in terms of the direction, what we're looking to do. So the existing structure is a, I'm just going to go back to the existing structure for a sec. So the existing structure is labeled on the assessor's record as a year-round camp-style dwelling consisting of a 1-story residence with a finished basement. That again doesn't technically meet the requirements of the building code for habitable space down there. We are conforming, or will be conforming in all of the zoning requirements with the exception of lot coverage and floor area ratio. It's an existing non-conforming structure with regards to those two. Lot coverage is required to be 20%, and we're at 22 existing. We are actually proposing, and I'll get into this, but we're actually proposing to reduce the lot coverage down from 22 to 21. It's a minor improvement, but it's an improvement nonetheless. And the floor area ratio is required to have 25%. We're currently at 33%, and we're asking the board to allow us to go up to 38% in order to make a much more livable house. The proposal endeavors to remove the finished basement as living space because it's not well suited for habitation, and it's limited ceiling height and a separate exterior access.
But was it used as a livable site?
Yes.
It's habitable now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's completely finished. It's got a kitchen. It's got a livable. That area is in the proposal, and the proposed is going to be converted over to storage, and we're going to provide an interior. I'll just hop right into it. So this is kind of the vision that
It's more about just the height of the floor space, and if it's going to count as a story, the determination of that, rather than was formerly lived in, correct?
Well, it is lived in, and we're correcting that. So So basically, we're kind of trading the downstairs for the upstairs, much more livable space.
Is it determined as a story, or is it?
Well, you know, in the Plum Island guidelines, I don't know, are you familiar with these?
Yes.
Okay. When it discusses the stories, I'll read you the definition. It says, per 9711D, a story is defined as that portion of a building included between the upper surface of a floor and the upper surface of the floor or roof next above, excluding attics that have no habitable area and that are used solely for storage and to house mechanical equipments. Intermediate levels such as mezzanine, lofts, and penthouse should be counted as a story. The maximum number of stories allowed on Plum Island is 2.
I did review this with Peter, the building inspector too, and I believe I don't want to put words in his mouth, believe that he considered it as a story. We went through the process, what we were asking for, and went through it, and he seemed like it was a reasonable request. So again, not trying to put words in his mouth, I wish he was here to say that, but we got the sense that what we were proposing was down the right path. Okay, so I lost my place here. So the functional living area is relocated to a properly designed second floor area with a standard ceiling and conventional, with a conventional residential layout. And this will meet the building height requirements. So the volume of this structure is allowed by right. Zoning calculations also only tell kind of part of the story too. So the footprint remains unchanged. We're not changing the footprint. And actually, we're reducing the footprint in the form of, we are removing this bulkhead, and we are also removing this bump out here. So this is the proposed site plan. I have an engineered site plan. This one's cleaner and easier for me to talk and probably easier for you to understand. So this is a site plan that I prepared, and I based it off of the surveyed site plan. So the information is accurate, it's just cleaner. And this has the setbacks on there. So the setback, existing setback, we're saying that the proposed setback, because this is just an open stair, is now 15, roughly 15 feet. So a couple things that we're looking for in terms of the site. We're removing the front entrance, we're removing the side entrance, we're removing the bulkhead entrance, and we're removing that bump up. What we're building new is a rear entrance. This is just an open stair, second means of egress down off of the backyard area here, and replacing the front entrance with a similar entrance in the same location with a small extended open deck, not enclosed, and that will conform with the setbacks. There's also an existing chimney that we're removing. I did not put that into my calculation. It's small and insignificant, but I just thought I'd point it out. Okay, so here's what we're looking to propose. So this would be an unfinished basement. We're removing all the finishes. The kitchen's gone, the bedroom's gone, and just kind of leaving it as a blank slate. We're barring that up, and we are providing an internal staircase to connect it to the house.
Is the bathroom staying?
The bathroom is existing, so we didn't want to take that out just because it's there. We didn't want to incur the cost of taking that out, so we're proposing it. If that's a problem for the board, didn't seem to be a problem with the building inspector when I went through it. It's a problem with the board, it's up for negotiation. It's just a costing really. And I don't know if the intent is for this to be storage. It's not going to be a habitable space down there. And it can't, once we pull it back, call it an unfinished, we can't pull the building permit because it wouldn't meet code. Barring going before you guys too, the building inspector would deny it because it doesn't meet the requirements of the building code. Second level, or this is actually the main level. So open concept, this is basically a very standard plan out there. We're again matching the existing footprint, so we're not extending beyond any of the existing footprint. Open concept, kitchen, living room, dining room with a little sitting area, kind of facing the street, and a small little powder room up there. A lot of what we're doing is adding the staircase that's going to connect the two floors, which currently isn't existing in their first floor plan. So here's a staircase down to the unfinished basement and a staircase up to the new second floor. So arriving at your second floor here, primary bedroom with a little balcony and bathroom, two modest-sized closets, and two kids' beds. Again, modest-sized bedrooms and some closet space there, and a kids' bathroom there. So this is essentially the second floor. We're hoping to, because of the proximity to the ocean, gain some of those beautiful views. And we are proposing a penthouse that would just be a staircase up to a flat roof deck so that they can hopefully get some water views. So that would be this. So no structure up here, it's just a flat roof with a roof deck, railings all the way around, but there will be a interior connection to get up there. So I forgot to mention, I kind of flew through my introduction there, but the genesis of this project is because Peter and his wife are, their kids are older and they're looking to downsize. They have a big house right now in Georgetown. So they're looking to downsize. And they're also looking to turn this house into, so it's going to be an owner-occupied project. So they're looking to make this their house. So that's why we're trying to make it nice as we possibly can. Okay. So This is, I skipped, in your packages, you have all 4 elevations on there, but just in the interest of saving some time, I condensed it to the front image, just so we could talk about heights. You can see the existing basement there, the existing first floor is to remain. This will be the new second floor, and the new roof deck, and even with the penthouse, we're above, or below the required height. The majority of the building is actually significantly lower than the max height. It would just be this piece right here that's getting fairly close to the top, but we're still under.
Is it 34.6, is that the elevation?
35, so average grade is -5, so we were just basing it off so for us, we set our first floor, because that's a datum, as our 0. So average grade is -5, and then 35, which is the height limitation, takes us up to 30 based off of first floor elevation. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but we count it based on that median
Exactly,
grade.
yeah, that's
So-
not the way we,
But
yeah.
the math is still the same, so
Yeah.
assuming the average grade, what you have is the average grade is the.
It's a
the
flat
median.
site.
Yeah, flat
That
site.
was the question I had, because you had 5 feet all around the building.
Yeah, it's a flat site, yeah. It's pretty dead flat. So, and we will make, we're not asking for any relief on height, so anything that is submitted to the building department will meet the height limitations. Okay, and then some images here of what we hope it to look like. Can end on that. And as you can see, I don't know if you can recall back to that picture directly across the street, but it's similar in architecture. I actually, prepping for this meeting, Google Maps is great, went down maybe a mile down North End Boulevard, maybe a little bit less than a mile in both directions, and saw some of these flat roof, kind of more modern shingle style houses, so it's certainly in character with some of the projects that are out there in both scale and in style. So the neighborhood impacts, the proposed project remains with the established building footprint, complies with all the required setbacks, complies with the maximum building height, maintains the existing 3-bedroom configuration, does not increase residential density or traffic or anything like that, and improves the appearance and functionality of the property, in our opinion, and converts an updated camp-style dwelling into a modest year-round residence. One other thing I'll mention is that we did go before the Conservation Commission and got approval. We submitted an RDA and got a negative determination, which is an approval. So this has been before the Conservation Commission. We were granted approval and are waiting for the orders of condition. So we did run it by that, and they were fine with what we were proposing. Just make sure I get all my talking points here. So in conclusion, the summary modernizes an aging home while respecting the established neighborhood. It maintains the existing footprint, reduces the lot coverage slightly, complies with all the setbacks and height requirements, maintains existing number of bedrooms, and has received Conservation Commission approval. For these reasons, we submit that the proposal is not more substantially detrimental to the neighborhood, and the existing non-conforming structure meets the standards for granting a special permit. And I always try to remind, although you probably don't need reminding, that that's the metric that we're working with here. Is it substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood? Not for the reasons that I just listed. That's why we're thinking that complies. That's pretty much the extent of my presentation. However, before we include Piotr, Peter did want to introduce himself formally to you and I think say a couple things. So after he gets done talking, I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you. Peter Nikolakopoulos. There's always a pause the first day of class, when people come to our name, so you did a good job. Like I mentioned, my wife Angela and I, we're looking to move into this house year-round. We own a business nearby that we love the community. We've been invested in the community, and we're just looking forward to, pretty much a final home. There are some bedrooms for the kids to come, just in case they want to, because the kids are always welcome to come. But like you said, our kids one is finishing college, one's off to college, and just want to kind of downsize, so I appreciate your consideration, thank you.
Okay, questions?
Comments from people?
I think after we,
I guess.
yeah. We're going to project and we can open up to.
It's below the height of any new build on PI. I think before you get to any kind of story relief, it's just the FAR. I think that's what's gonna come up, you know, it's just like 13 points. It's a jump. But it's, you know,
5 points from the existing, though.
it was
It's an
non-conforming to begin with, yeah.
Yeah.
It's unique. It's a unique deal. It looks beautiful.
Thank you.
I mean, I know that's what's gonna be,
Yeah.
before you even talk about like story stuff, I'm just curious to see what the rest of the board has to say.
So the finished space, the total 2,049 square feet, it looks like that includes 56 square feet of basement.
Might be the
So-
stair going down. We tend to round up on our numbers just so, I'd rather have extra square footage in there than short change it, so we'll tend to be conservative when we're rounding up.
So the basement, the rest of the square footage isn't part of your FAR?
Correct, yep. Doesn't meet the height limitation and the intention is for it to be storage, yeah, uninhabitable. If you look at the square footage calculations on there, the cheap version, is, we're basically adding 214 square feet to this project in the form of, and most of that's on the second level. 80 square feet of it is in this penthouse, so
Okay.
we're talking
Show the
about
pictures again, through the neighborhood pictures that you take from Mark, scroll that up again.
of the existing.
Yeah, well, just, yeah, just the
Yeah,
buildings.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just trying to figure out in my head exactly where it's down, how it's talking about.
I drove by, it's in that narrow strip of land between the basin.
The pre-non-conforming structures hanging you guys up big time.
That actually helps us.
But
If we were
we'll be able
conforming,
to start it, but.
We typically,
It
I'm sorry.
multiplies the FAR
That's
quicker.
your-
No, go ahead,
sorry.
go ahead.
No, we typically include the basement area if it's a basement in the FAR.
okay, based on the building inspector's assessment, because it's not inhabitable, we didn't need to include it. Again, I'm just working
Yeah.
off of what I was told.
You can make a determination that it's not a story.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's covered. Is that right, Jack?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
then
If
that's
it's
gonna be a
covered,
tough one.
if it's covered, it's included.
Included in FAR, which means your FAR is actually quite a bit higher than.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
that's separate from the story conversation.
I guess
FAR is
so.
the first.
So my reading of the boards is not very specific, so I understand that you have seen many projects out here, and this is kind of a determination, but taking a kind of a step back and realizing that we're taking a function that doesn't function very well, but is set up for an interior, and relocating that, repurposing that.
We include overhangs, like
In FAR,
in FAR.
that makes no sense. That finished
So
floor area.
I can give you the definition, but the basement,
But it's not finished area. FAR stands for floor, finished floor.
FAR shall be constructed as a mathematical expression determined by dividing the total gross floor area
Right.
of a building by the area of the lot.
An overhang is not floor.
We're not talking about overhang now, just basement.
Okay, sorry.
The total amount of FAR allowed is 25%, but this can include covered decks, is what I was talking about.
Right.
But
We've included the covered decks.
you have to include the basement.
Disagree with that one. So if I can get the building inspector to sign off on it not being a story, will it still count?
That's our decision,
Okay, that's
We
fine.
very rarely disagree with him, but we have occasionally.
yeah.
All right.
Well,
So-
again, though, it's not whether it's a story or not,
It's-
it's square footage. So we're not looking at height necessarily, we're looking at,
Yeah, but
Right.
floor area ratio is intended to be limited. So you're trying to, the whole idea of floor area ratio, all right, because I deal with this in all types, it's more of an urban metric that suburban things have adopted into controlling density in the project. My whole point is that we're not increasing the density here. We're keeping it a 3-bedroom, the same amount of people that currently live in this house. In fact, you could argue maybe less because there's an apartment downstairs. So we're keeping the same density, we're keeping the same exact function of this house. Problem with the floor area ratio is it really penalizes people with small lots. And it makes it, hard for them to do anything. So if you just look at the street, I mean, there's this house right next to it, which is essentially the same thing. This is a 2-story space here, and
Do they have a basement?
I don't know, I haven't been in the house.
No, they don't.
No,
They don't.
no basement.
I owned that house before, we just sold it.
We're gonna ask the public just to not say anything until we're done here, and then we're gonna open it up to everybody, and then you could say as much as you want.
And this is a house directly across the
Thank you.
street.
I will say that, I wasn't clever enough to look at on Google Maps, so I drove up and down the other day. And I gotta disagree a little with your characterization of the neighborhood of being mostly flat-topped, triple-decker style buildings. I think it's mostly capes.
If I said that, I didn't mean that
The
it's
building
mostly.
adjacent to it, I will admit, is kind of a twin to what you're proposing. But the rest of the neighborhood, I would say, without question, is
There are
mostly
others.
capes and converted capes.
Yeah, if I said that, I inadvertently said that it's a majority of that. What the point I was trying to make is that it is in context with the rest of the neighborhood. There are other houses, actually, if you go down, I would say probably about 15 houses on the left on this side. There's another flat roof house that is something very similar to this.
That might be a Newburyport. You're close.
It's in the same neighborhood, it's a walking distance from it. So I know we're kind of like splitting hairs here. My contention is that you put the proposed building into this neighborhood and it doesn't stick out like a sore thumb. It's in keeping, it's a shingle style house, common that you see in the Cape. Any other questions?
Jack, anything else?
No, I reserve the right to disagree later, but I appreciate your response. Okay.
Yeah, I think the design is very beautiful, and I think it does work in the neighborhood, so I guess I don't have a problem with that. It's more the numbers that I'm struggling with a little bit here, with, just meeting what's in our zoning. I mean,
Yeah.
we're already
Yeah.
over that, even if we don't talk about the basement, we're already over FAR, and now we're increasing that more. And that's not even including the conversation related to the basement, so I think that's the
They're two
summary of my
separate, we
thoughts.
looked at two separate things by the book, what to forgive for our story and for the farm. I'm curious to see if you're gonna be neighbors maybe someday, what everyone has to potentially say about it.
Looks like we've got some neighbors that want to say something. I just want to throw it back to you guys, just one thing. I've sat on the zoning board for several years in Danvers, so I've been in your position. And the metric that we're dealing with here is what we're proposing substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood. And if you find that it's not, you have the right to grant this special permit by Mass General laws and by your own bylaws. So I just don't want to lose sight of that. I think what we're proposing is you have a partially functional house here. Okay, the basement is not a very functional space, but it is used. It was built as a camp prior to zoning, and owners throughout the generations have tried to do the best that they can with it. You have a person that's trying to make this their home, but they want to make it correct. They want to make it right. And we also want to work with your bylaws. We've done, I think, everything that we could to stay within the confines of that. The floor area ratio for a lot this size is creating problems to make a functional house of what currently exists there right now. So that's the problem that we have. But again, I keep going back to what your charge is it more detrimental to the neighborhood? And we think that it's an obvious no for that. So with that, that's...
Okay, I'm going to open up to the public. Anyone for the project here?
Go.
Anyone who
I just
is...
asked questions.
Again, if you want to speak, just say your name and address.
Okay. My name is Becca Mitchell. We directly abut the house on Northern Boulevard. Our property lines run along each other. I have one request, and then I have two questions, one of which has been partially answered, but the request is that on the original letter that we received, we have the increase in footprint as number one and the increase in height as number two, as far as bylaws. And then it says, and any other permanent relief as may be required under the town of Newbury for zoning bylaw, Newbury's zoning bylaws to allow the proposed use project. And that kind of leaves it totally wide open.
I picked up on that, true, and you're right on that.
I would request that that portion be taken out of that.
There are your address.
Yeah.
You're requesting 1 and 2, and all of a sudden, you don't have to go back for any more bylaws while you're building this. That concerns me.
Actually, I'll say just a few things.
Okay.
One, it was written by our legal people. And second of all, any changes, people have to come back to the zoning board. There's no way a change can be made without coming back to the zoning board. So
Okay.
that's our,
That's not
if you
the way
read,
it sounds.
yeah,
and I
if
was
you read like a
concerned
final
with that.
draft,
Yeah.
it actually does say that if there's any changes, major and minor, have to come back to the Z board, and we have to make a decision on it. So I think that protects.
Okay, as long as you tell me that.
Yeah, when a decision is issued, we attach all the plans with it. So if anything is being built that doesn't meet these plans, they would have to come back to the board for that, for approval of those changes.
Okay. So this is your final plan for the place? I mean, you said
Hopefully,
you
yeah.
were, hopefully?
Well, see how, if we can get it
Oh.
approved. Yeah.
All right.
I was, I'm glad that you actually brought that up, because as you were reading the minutes, and I actually too thought that that sounded like an open door, which is not
No, I
anything that
got
we're
you
trying
said
to do.
that. Oh, you're talking about this.
The point that you brought up, I agree with you on that. It does sound like it's an open door. Yeah.
And considering what's happened on 37th Street, I mean, those two houses are enormous, and I can't even figure out how that happened. They're taking up so much room on 37th. But, so that frightens me for the rest of the neighborhoods, is sort of what I'm saying. But the questions now, the floor area ratio, on the original proposal, the floor area ratio, the original square foot of the property was 5,010 feet. Now on the new one, the second proposal, the new one is 5,600 square feet. That's a big difference. And I don't know I mean, I know every place has one of these types of sheets. And on this sheet, it says 5,000 square feet. So I'm not quite sure where the 5,600 came from all of a sudden.
That's the lot size?
Yeah,
Lot
that's
size.
Lot size, not the car.
That's the lot size, but
Yeah.
that's how they determine the floor area ratio.
20% of the lot size.
Right, so if is it 5,010 or is it 5,600?
So this is our current site plan. I'm sorry, I'm supposed to be talking through you, right? Are you formal like that?
It's okay.
Okay. Through the board, just to keep you on the this is our most current site plan done by a local surveyor, Bernard Blank. And he has it listed as 5,600. I have to rely on the surveys. I'm not a surveyor.
Was it a formal survey? I mean, we just
This is a
said-
formal-
we
this
just
is a-
said I was done and certified, and so that's. we
Yeah.
wanted to
Yeah.
put a
This is
demo on
certified.
that.
We have a copy of it here and it is stamped by a surveyor.
Of the 5,600
And that
square
says
feet.
5,600.
Yeah. This is a measured drawing, an instrument measured drawing, so this is what the town requires.
Okay. All right. Then my other question concerned the basement and how, you know, on the original paperwork, it said 2,815 square feet for the property, which included the basement. Now the new 2,121 square feet, the new proposal, they've taken out 19 for, is it the bathroom, 19 for the, and 34, and then the 580 square foot, 500, storage area, which was to be down in the basement apparently. So that's about 633 square feet, but I'm not understanding how you can just eliminate or choose to say that doesn't count. I agree the house is beautiful, I like it, I would just like it to conform, and I'm feeling a little outside of that.
Yeah.
And
So-
when we directly abut it, I don't wanna find it expanding on me.
Sure, well, we can't expand it on you, so the existing footprint, we're matching that. So it's not gonna come any closer to your property. And we are going higher, but we're going within the required height limitation. But your question about the basement, and I think this is where the board and I have somewhat of a disagreement on, but the idea is that the basement is no longer being used as floor area, in that it's used for storage, but it's not living floor area. The definition is up for interpretation, but these are the guys that interpret it, and they were probably not the first to come before you with that. So that's where the kind of confusion is right now. It's our contention that the basement is no longer being used as habitable area, meaning that it's not going to increase the density. More people aren't going to be in this property as a result of having the basement.
Is the plan, sorry to interrupt conversations, but is the plan to remove drywall, studs from the
Yeah.
basement? Any flooring, any ceiling, all that will be removed?
Correct, yeah, yeah. In fact, it's gonna make the storage a lot nicer because the ceilings are kind of low, having that extra space. And the bathroom is up for grab. I mean, if that's a sticking point, I'm sure we could negotiate the bathroom. Again, the only reason why we didn't do it is because of cost. And I don't believe that I believe you can have a bathroom in an unfinished basement and it doesn't count as living space, per the code, building code.
What is the square footage when you include the basement? Do you have that, 28?
You would have to add another, so it'd be 2860, somewhere on there.
And your current square footage is without the basement, you said 21? 21.
Well, what we've calculated is, what you have in your package is the existing, including the basement, is 1835. That's what we're coming up.
So in the existing, you didn't include the basement?
We did. We did include the basement because it's finished.
Okay.
It's floor area. Yeah.
Okay, and the proposed is 21, is that correct?
The proposed is 2049 without the basement. And that's in your package.
Okay.
And that nets out to a 214 square footage addition.
Okay, thanks.
So again, the numbers, and I've been in this battle before. I don't personally. It doesn't matter. I'm not a big fan of FAR in residential, but that you don't care about that. But
We have it in our guidelines.
I was gonna say, it's part of the
It's part of
zoning
our-
though, so we
Right.
can't just disregard
But
it.
sure, and we're not asking you to certainly not to disregard it, but do you know why it's there? Why it's there is to control density. That's the whole idea of floor area calculations. And again, it started with urban development, bringing it down so that
And the PIOD is a little bit different than,
right.
our
Right.
suburb or Newbury. It's very
Right.
different, actually, I should say.
Sure, I grew up in the Salem Willows, really tight-knit communities, so the regulations are looked at with a finer tooth comb, right? Certainly understand that, but again, the calculations, the numbers, really kind of tell you only half of the story. It's what do those numbers actually represent? Again, I keep coming back to this, that what our proposal is, and this is what we're trying to accomplish, is that we're not making this a more dense project, we're just making it a more functional house.
Go ahead.
Dougie Anderson, 46th Street.
Uh-huh.
Lovely people, I've met them, they're great people, and I don't wish, I want everybody to have a beautiful home. But, we've had a few projects go in the neighborhood, and we were all held to the bylaws. My lot's 6,000 square feet. They kept me right at 1,500 square feet. Another fella on the corner, they kept him right at 1,200 square feet. I mean, I think that's why we have bylaws. As far as I can see, they're going from the existing FAR, the FAR, at 1835, and they're saying they're only going up 214 feet, 214 square feet. But isn't it supposed to go back to the FAR, the 1,400 square feet for a 56 5,600 square foot lot, that's the 25% is 14.
Well, right now, it's at 33, so it's non-conforming anyway, so it's not.
It's non-conforming, right?
Right. We don't make people go back. If they have a non-conforming house or lot, we try to work with them within those parameters.
Okay, but if you count the 1835, and they're really, if you're gonna do a house over, actually take the first floor off and do it over, I was told that you can't go over the FAR.
If you're gonna demolish the house.
Well, you're pretty much renovating the whole house. So that's kind of demolishing it.
Well, I
But-
think they're keeping the existing
This-
foundations,
they're-
so
okay.
they're working within the.
But the other
existing
thing is,
footprint.
I don't understand how you can get rid of square footage.
Well,
Especially
That's
if
up
it's
for,
the-
that's up for debate at this
Yes.
point. The whole basement is,
Especially if they have egress windows and it sticks out of the foundation, sticks off the subgrade 5 feet.
right, and that's up for.
Okay, I'm just letting you
No, I
know
appreciate
how I
that.
feel.
Yeah, no, that's why we
They're
asked for
lovely
your
people.
comments.
They're lovely
Yeah.
people. And I would love them as neighbors, and I would love them to have a house, but I'm afraid if we don't go by the bylaws,
We don't want to set a precedence.
exactly.
Exactly.
Can I respond to that, and actually to what you just said too? Okay.
I want to say something.
No, give me 1 second.
Okay, go ahead.
Just so, there's misconceptions out there, and I've actually seen it on boards as well. So, by law, a board cannot set a precedent. In order to set a precedent, it has to be within a court of law. So this board, even if it wanted to, couldn't set a precedent. The Mass General laws state that every project is looked at on its own merits. So you mentioned something at the beginning there where you were held to something.
I was held by the bylaws.
I feel bad about that, and
Well, I went by the bylaws, I don't feel bad about it,
Well,
because those are the bylaws.
I have no idea what you were proposing, and we can't really get into that here, right? Because it's not part of this project, it's not what's before them. What I'm saying is that they don't set precedent. So just because maybe they made a mistake in not granting
Well,
you
no,
that, if
they
you
didn't
had a
make a
good
mistake,
project.
they kept me to the FAR.
Well, so again, now back to you,
Wouldn't it be a
maybe the
legal
chair.
precedent?
Yeah, it's not a legal
Just a
precedent,
visual.
but it is a
Set legal
precedent
precedent.
in the neighborhood. People would come back and say, hey, you did it for that guy, hey, you did it for this guy, why aren't you doing it for me? So that's the kind of precedents we're talking about.
Well, but I think, again, it's kind of the same path. I think your answer to that, or if I were on this board, my answer to that was I'd have to look at each individual
And we do.
project and what they're proposing to us. Are they keeping the bylaws in the back of their mind? Are they trying to meet the intent of the bylaw? And again, I've gone through great lengths to try to express to you how we are doing that.
Appreciate that.
And the intent is-
And there's just one more thing I'd like to talk about, stories. When you read the definition of a story, that you can call it, he called it a penthouse, okay? We used to call them in the trade dog houses, but to enter the roof. You actually define that as a three and a half story.
Again, we're
That's
we're
up
here
for
for tonight.
interpretation,
Yeah.
but I'm just saying, that's actually a story. And you're only supposed to have 2 stories on the island. Now, I don't know how, it says it right, you read it, I can read it to you, I wrote it down. It says
Yep.
2 stories.
Yep. Agree. Are you good?
Yeah,
Oh, any,
that's all I have.
just checking. Anyone else?
Yeah. Jim Mitchell, I'm just to the south of you, on a butter with my wife. I'll be brief. In granting a variance, there's gotta be 3 characteristics that apply. You know what they are. Circumstances relating to soil. It would involve a hardship, and it would not cause a deterrent to the general
I
public.
think they're going for a special permit, though, not a variance.
Correct. When you go for a special permit, because it's non-conforming, is that correct? Do you use those same 3 characteristics to look at?
No, we go by the PIOD bylaws, which has height, FAR, side setbacks, front,
Okay.
side, rear.
And the character we determine, as he mentioned, by substantially more detrimental, that's our test.
That's the bar,
Okay.
yeah. So you did your homework, and for a variance, that's spot on. But we're applying for a special permit. The standard bear there is substantially more detrimental.
Go on. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Be quick.
I prepared a statement, but it's based on a height increase, so if that's a moot point, then that's a moot point. My name is Richie Tulare, and I'm the owner of 133 Northern Boulevard, Unit A and B. I respectfully ask the board to deny the requested special permit finding for relief from sections 97-4D5C01 and 97-4D5C02 of the Newbury zoning bylaw. These sections of the Plum Island Overlay District were put in place for a reason. They recognize that many homes on Plum Island are pre-existing non-conforming structures and allow reasonable improvements, but they specifically limit increases in footprint and height. The applicant is seeking relief from both of these protections. The board's standard is whether the proposed changes will be substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than the existing structure. I believe they will be. Many property owners throughout Plum Island have invested significant time and money designing homes, additions, renovations, and rebuilds that conform to the zoning requirements or remain within the limits established by the law. They have respected the regulations that were adopted to protect the character, scale, and unique environment of the island. Granting relief here for a larger footprint and greater height would create an unfair precedent for those residents who have complied with the rules and accepted the limitations imposed on their own properties. It would also be an invitation for potential future buyers on Plum Island to buy the smallest houses available, knowing they too can get relief to build a larger, taller house. This neighborhood is made up of many year-round residents and longtime property owners who have invested decades of preserving the unique character of this part of Plum Island. When faced with similar requests for relief in the past, neighbors have come together in much the same fashion as they are here today, not out of hostility to change or improvement, but out of shared commitment to maintaining the scale, character, and spirit of the community that has made this area so special. Residents have long understood that protecting the island's identity requires adherence to the standards that have been carefully established, and many homeowners have made personal sacrifices and design compromises in order to comply with those regulations. The people who live here year-round and those who have called this neighborhood home for generations have worked hard to preserve the sense of place that defines Plum Island. It is that collective commitment that has allowed the island to retain its charming character despite the pressures of redevelopment. Granting release from these requirements for increased footprint and height would undermine those efforts and send the message that the rules that have guided responsible development for years are no longer meaningful. More importantly, this proposal does not fit the established pattern of development in the immediate neighborhood. The existing homes along Northern Boulevard reflect the traditional scale and character that have defined Plum Island for generations. Increasing both the footprint and height of the structure risks creating a home that is noticeably out of scale with surrounding properties and inconsistent with the visual character of the area. Plum Island is special because it has never become a place of oversized homes built to the maximum possible dimensions. The island's character comes from its modest scale, open views, and the sense that no single structure dominates the streetscape. The zoning regulations were carefully crafted and to ensure that redevelopment occurs in a way that respects the neighborhood as a whole. If relief from these requirements becomes routine, the cumulative effect will be significant. One larger house becomes another and then another, until the very qualities that make Plum Island unique are gradually lost. The zoning rules are not simple technical requirements. They are part of a long-term effort to preserve the fabric, identity, and character of the island for current residents and future generations. Zoning regulations are more than measurements and dimensions. They respect a covenant among neighbors and a long-standing commitment to preserving the character and fabric of Plum Island. Once the character is lost, it cannot easily be restored. If exceptions are repeatedly granted to allow larger footprints and taller structures, the qualities residents have worked to protect will slowly disappear. For all of these reasons, I respectfully request that the board deny the requested relief and uphold the intent of the Plum Island Overlay District regulations. Thank you.
Additional comments?
Sure, yeah.
Anyone else?
My name is David Dempsey. I live at 846th Street. As far as the project in this area, I've done 4 projects right around this house. 131, complete renovation, total gut, did the whole thing over. My house at 846th Street, less than 50 yards away, did the same thing, came before the board on that. Was basically followed the compliance of all the bylaws. We talk about basement space. On that property, when I first did mine 14 years ago, I wanted to put the utilities downstairs. It was a crawl space. I cut out a 10 by 10 square, had it cinder blocked, and put my heating system and my hot water heater down. I had to add that 100 square feet to my square footage of my FAR. When we did 131 next door, on both of those rehab projects, I sat down with Building Inspector Sam Joslin, went over everything with him. He explained to me how to keep the envelope of the properties, how to do them, and how to be able to come before this board at the time and get full compliance and no complaints from any of these neighbors that I all have lived around and by for 14 years. Next to my house at 748th Street, I tore the cottage down that was there and came to this board with a full set of plans to build a new house. And we talked about the FRA and we talked about the lot coverage. Your overhangs do count. I had a 30-inch overhang on all the way around my house. I had to cut it back to 20 inches because that's what the board told me I had to do. I came with a set of plans that said I wanted to put it on 2-foot pilings. The board said, no, you got to put it on 8-foot pilings. That house now sits on 8-foot pilings. It's a beautiful house. I don't live there because of a health issue with my wife. She had an aneurysm, and the last thing the doctor said was stay away from stairs. And because it was on 8-foot pilings, there were 32 steps to the kitchen and 40 steps to the roof deck. So we stayed in the house that I live in right next door, and we've been very happy there. The last time that this board was involved with a project that I was involved with, I was owners of the 134 Northern Boulevard Plum Island Kitchen. There was a gentleman that came before this board that was going to build a new house on that property that I had a purchase and sales agreement with. He wanted to build the same house that as you come over the bridge, you see the large structure by the cottage with the big half-moon stairway penthouse, as it's referred to the roof deck. He came with the same set of plans. He came to me and I said, if you're going to go in there with those plans, it's never going to pass. That house will never be built there. One of the things that he came in was the same exact story about the basement. That the basement was going to be a space that was not going to be ever built in. It was not going to have any access except from the outside. It was going to be a playroom for his grandchildren, and there was going to be a shower and a bathroom down there for the people coming off the beach. That project was denied. The purchase and sales agreement was then void and nullified. The sale didn't go through, and Lucy's has now opened up where that property was. I think the point I'm trying to say, and I understand that this gentleman didn't like the term of precedent, but I think this board, in my experience, has done a great job of making the good decisions that has kept that neighborhood exactly the way it is. And in all the times that I've been before this board and have worked with the building department, I also conferred much in advance with my neighbors to talk about what was going to be done so that there wouldn't be a half of a neighborhood sitting here that was in contention of what was being done. I think the point of the basement is that is part of the bylaws. And it is, and I've been in that house, so I don't know about 5 feet, but the gentleman that lived in that house and lived downstairs, Steve, he was at least almost 6 feet tall. And I never walked through that place and had to bend down. And I think if you look at the elevations of their drawings, it says 2'8" where the basement floor was, and then the foundation shows it's another 5 feet. So I think it's almost over 7 feet in that basement. And I don't know how, if you have a 5 foot, how do you have a bathroom with a shower in it with only a 5 foot headspace? So I think there's some controversy in that. I know I've been in the house multiple times. Again, doing the rehab next door, owning the store across the street, knowing Steve and his mother, the former owners. I've been in that basement multiple times, and I've never had to lower my head to walk through that basement and go in and out of that bathroom or sit in that kitchen. So I think there is a little bit of controversy. I don't know if the building inspector has gone into that basement and actually looked at it, or if he was just taking off the drawings. But your elevation does show that there's a 2'8", and then another 5 feet on top of that where the foundation wall is before the floor of the first floor.
Yep.
That's a total of 7 feet, 0.8 inches. And so there's plenty of headroom down there to do a finished basement. And so I'm just, I think you really have to take a look at that. There has been issues where people have been turned down because of the definition of what a floor consists of. And again, I know we don't want to talk about setting precedents, but I'm going to use the word consistent. This board has done a great job, I think, of doing their job, of maintaining the integrity of our bylaws and what the town of Newbury, not Danvers, not Methuen, not any other place, what's important to the town of Newbury and the integrity of our neighborhoods is what this board is really done an outstanding job of in the 4 projects that I've been dealt with in that area. And I think that's what has made that area of the island unique. I think it's what's important, and I think it's what's important to the people that have lived there. These people that are sitting here, we're all year-round residents. I live here year-round, and like I said, I've invested a lot of time and a lot of money. We talked about the houses on 337th Street and the houses that have been built there. My sister and I owned 337th Street originally. We sold those houses to that, and I'm devastated at what they've done to that property. So I think when we talk about the integrity of that neighborhood, I think this board has done an outstanding job over the years, the 14 years I've been here, and my affiliation with the town. Sam Joslin is the building inspector. I have not worked with the most recent building inspector, but Sam was always good with me. We sat down, we talked ahead of time about what was being done. It was a great conversation with myself, my builder, and John Sava, my architect. And I think that's what makes a project work, and I think that's what makes a project done right. And the fact that this board has been consistent, I'm not saying precedent, I'm saying consistent in the decisions that they've made is what's made Plum Island a special place to live. And you can't compare it to any other place, and that's why when we talk about the lot coverage and we talk about the FARs, it's important that we maintain those decisions, and those decisions are based on the integrity of this board. And I think you've done an outstanding job as far as my involvement with the town, and I think it should remain that way. And thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Can I respond, please? Yeah. So I just point of clarification. You're right on 7'8". That's floor to floor, though. That's from the basement floor to the top of the first floor.
Right, but if you look at the floor joists, they're probably 10 by 10s.
I have, and
Okay.
I've measured it.
Yeah.
It's 6'8" in the best case scenario for the main ceiling. If you look at the building code.
Well, it went from 5 feet to 6'8" now, so at least we're on the right page.
Nope, I think you misunderstood. It is still 5 feet above average grade.
Yes, it is.
That is, I haven't wavered from that. What I'm saying is inside the space is below the required basement height for, that's my contention. I'm also hearing quite a few people reference projects that they were denied, or something didn't go so smoothly, and I apologize for that.
They went smooth.
Although I had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, you don't have to apologize.
That's not a reason, though, to perpetually do something that isn't consistent with the bylaw. So we'll leave it at that. I don't want to be contentious. I love the way you guys talk about this neighborhood, and I love the way that you talk about this. As an artist, as an architect, we're trying to do that. We're doing everything that we can in order to do that. Now, I know some of you might disagree with that, but that's our charge. That's what we're trying to do. They want to live here because they love this community. They're relocating from Georgetown to be here. You've met with them, right? They're extremely nice people.
Lovely.
Right.
And you did a great job on the house, too.
Thank you.
You did a wonderful job on the
So
house.
we're trying to enhance that character. We're taking a dilapidated property and making it nicer. It sounds like this basement, that's the kind of...
Let's see if anyone else has. Anyone else have any comments they'd like to address?
Just one thing. Even if we didn't count the basement, it's still 650 feet over. Even if you didn't count the basement, over the 1,400 FAR.
Yeah. Anyone else? We good? Okay. Comments? I think we need maybe some more clarification on a few things, and I'm thinking...
I have a couple brief comments to respond to some things that I've heard. For instance, on the FAR, first of all, that's in our guidelines. That's what we have to go by. It's in the bylaws. But it also serves a purpose, and the purpose is, as you kind of hinted at, is to stop people from building massive houses on small lots. And in order to do that, you just can't say that's too big, you need a mathematical test. And FAR, though not perfect, is the one they've given us. So we can all argue about whether we like it or not, or whether it's suitable to Plum Island, but that's the confines we gotta work in. And the precedence thing, you know, right, we're not a legal, we're an authority having jurisdiction, we're not making a legal court case, but in the term that one of the people in the audience used, consistency, you sort of said the same thing. You pointed to the house next door and said, oh, it's the same thing, or very similar. And I agree with that, it is very similar, you know? My point was the rest of the neighborhood isn't, so.
I think if you were to, and it sounds like we're going to a continuance, right? That's the, from reading.
I think it would be the
correctly.
best option,
Yeah.
unless you have another idea.
Well, I'm happy to hear, because if we come back, I want to address any comments that I hear. Some of them we may not be able to, but if we can, I certainly want to. But in that time, and I'll bring some more, I can do more research on it, but I do suggest it's a pretty fast thing if you just go to the Google Street Views and take a walk down that street. I think you'll see probably more houses that are actually significantly bigger than this, certainly the same size, and you'll also see styles that are very comparable to this.
Well, what I would suggest is, one of the things that this board does a good job at is we look at what we're getting. And there's a big get here that we haven't really mentioned, which is you know, regardless of the legality, if it's an apartment in the basement,
Right.
is going away.
Right.
That's gotta be a plus for the neighborhood, I would think.
Definitely.
And that's gotta be a plus for the town.
By the way, those windows don't open down there, so God forbid if there was ever kids down there and they needed an emergency exit.
No, clearly it's
Yeah, just trying to
unsuitable,
say
it
that's
doesn't
not-
meet
Well,
code.
it looks like they have 2 means of egress already,
This-
from 2 stairs, right?
In the
There's only
basement,
one.
no.
Just one.
They have
Oh,
windows
there's 2 that you're getting rid of.
that you can't even open up, trying to open
We're
up.
talking existing conditions.
Existing.
There's only one stair up,
Oh, I thought there was
and none of the windows meet egress
Yeah, you can see.
capacity. So it is in a lot of faults, not a legal living arrangement, and you stated it better than I could.
So I'm not speaking for the board, but my suggestion were to be if someone was to make a presentation, reduce the FAR, then I think we would be able to look at it more favorably, you know, and we'll get clarification on the basement as far as is it a story or not, you know?
And I think we probably would need calculations, new calculations with the basement included far.
Okay.
So we can see what we're looking at.
Okay. If we were to fill in the basement, hypothetically, we're not going to do this, but just hypothetically, if the basement didn't exist, we're talking a difference, and we've been throwing square footage out there, and they're bigger numbers, but really what we should be focusing on is percentages. 25%, the existing is 33%, based on your definitions, and we're asking to go to 38%.
Not really, when you include the basement. it'd be much
But in
significantly
this
higher.
hypothetical, the basement's gone, so 38%.
I mean, you're filling it with soil.
Yeah,
Yeah.
filling it, or, then essentially this project could be built, we'd have to take 200 square foot out of it to make the, to meet the limits of the bylaw. That's discounting our by right, non-conforming status. But again, the point I'm trying to make is that this structure can exist by right if it didn't exist. We wouldn't be here before you if there was
But we are,
no
and
basement.
this
Yeah.
is what it is.
But that's what gives you the right to look at the situation and say, all right, they're working within the confines of the intent.
But
of
really not, because the FAR is incorrect. The FAR is incorrect. The
Based
basement
on
needs to
the,
be- The basement needs to be included.
Okay,
If you were to fill it in, it doesn't need to be
It
included,
doesn't need to be included.
and it's not square footage.
okay.
But you might have to put it on piles. That's not my call.
You see though that this is kind of like silliness, right? It's not, and I understand that it's, all right, so first of all, you do have the right to grant a special permit in your bylaw. I read it, and also it's mass general laws too.
You do have the obligation to abide by the bylaws.
Your obligation is substantially more detrimental, and that's
It's
right
all,
in the.
it's all,
And the
it's
bylaws.
It's all,
That's
it's
all
just not,
bylaws.
it's just not more
Numbers
detrimental.
And.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So we agree.
I don't know what we're agreeing on, to be honest with you.
That your bar is substantial, not more substantially
And the
detrimental
bylaws.
to the.
And the
Yeah.
bylaws. And the bylaws.
That's what the bylaws said. All right, we're going on a path that we're not gonna get anywhere. Go ahead, that's fine.
That's good. Okay. Any other comments, questions, concerns?
Do we want to make a motion?
Yeah, I think we have a few conditions on, yeah.
Do you have, before, the
Any other-
motion we would make would be to make a continuance, have you guys come back with some more information.
We'll come back with some more information.
You know, we hate to, you know, we try to get people in and out of here as quickly as we
We
can.
want to be
but-
fair to everyone. I mean, we want to be fair to those people who have small lots and big lots. We'd love to help you out, and so we're here to help you out. We're not
I
here-
think all the
We
board
just wanna
members have
do our
said
due
this is a good
diligence.
project.
Yeah.
Everyone said, we like this project. No, and the neighbors who are here, I don't want to say in opposition, but not in strong support, have all said they like the project, it's a nice design.
And consistency is something that this board should strive for. I agree with that 100%. Every board should. However, perpetuation of something that isn't necessarily the best way to look at something doesn't by definition
I have to disagree with
allow
you
you.
on that. I really do.
What?
That-
What do you disagree?
About the way you're looking at it, the way we look at stuff with related to FAR. I mean, we go by the numbers and we do go by detrimental, so I can't agree with you that we shouldn't look at.
My point was the neighbors were saying that, they weren't allowed to do something for this reason or for that reason. That really shouldn't come into play in a specific,
Totally.
yeah, okay, thank you.
Every project's
Let's
different.
look at
Every
it.
project's unique.
One-on-one.
We look at it in a unique way.
Perfect. So, yeah, then we'd like a continuance for the next meeting.
Make a motion.
No, make a motion to grant the continuance for both the applicant and the board to come back with more information.
And we would request that you do the additional calculations with the basement.
Including the basement?
Yeah. Thank you.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Continue
Oh,
to-
August 21st, 20th, 7:30. 20th, Thursday.
Yes.
Peter's in.
Dave.
Dave. Town council.
Dave.
Monday. Project questions. So, board or Bill, just try to find something that
Yeah.
August 30th.
I did too.
Could be the third or Thursday.
The FAR.
Okay, great. Thank you for your time.
I almost responded to Mario.
What's in the back?
We have any more business?
Okay, so, speaking of reference to variances, Governor Healy signed the new budget, changes to zoning codes. I start from a building standpoint, mentioned it to Eric. Eric made a few comments. Somebody went into ChatGPT and asked for a summary of all the changes. So I added that to the top section of the 48 changes, and Eric asked Lisa Mead for a recommendation on the changes. So she did like a 7-page memo, which is attached, and now variance has changed. You don't need those 3 recommendations for a variance anymore. It's not based on soil topography or hardship.
Come on, I was good at
It's
those.
based, I know, it's now based on.
I know.
Camera's still running.
Has anyone ever argued that a non-conforming structure was a hardship because they inherited it or something like that? I mean, like, has that argument ever come up? Have you guys ever seen that?
Driveway one for Foley did come up that they said it was a hardship, that they couldn't safely take a left out of the development because the fire trucks couldn't get in and
I
out.
remember that one.
So they were allowed to go right or
Someone's in my
something.
window and I can't play Xbox at a certain time of day, so that's a hardship.
Okay,
So
is there anything else?
that's this?
That's that 48 pack. So,
This, okay.
sorry, it's just
Proposed
so much,
changes.
yes, proposed changes to 48.
Okay.
Make a motion to end the meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.